quickly you said, I'm just kidding. That boy was gonna get a whole whooping from his wife. Talking
Well,
about a beach party. That boy know you finna get a whooping. You said that so quick. You said that so quick. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. With the look around, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm playing, man. I'm playing. That boy Money know he was about to get a whooping.
whatever, man.
You ain't gotta lie to kick in my nigga. You ain't gotta lie. You ain't gotta lie. You ain't gotta lie.
Welcome back, everyone, to episode 14 of You Ain't Gotta Lie podcast. I'm your co-host, Two Wavy Jaysta, aka Jaysta HD. And who am I with today?
Your boy F Money, or Money for sure.
Hey. And we like to do this podcast. We try to bring it to you guys once a week. And we try to interact with fans as well. Today we got some juicy topics. I'm actually looking forward to a couple of these we got. Because I think me and Money disagree on one of them. But first we're going to keep the theme of mental health going. Open up in communication, just expressing yourselves, seeing that there's different ways to go about it, and how you can grow and become better at communicating about, things you're dealing with. Next topic we're going to be talking about is, should we embrace AI? Of course, we got to get into our sports. We're going to have the NBA Finals recap, and then we're going to finish off with turmoil in Miami. So, for our first topic of the day, first of all, how are you doing today, Money? You good, man?
I'm great, man. How are you? Hey, I look forward to this
Good,
every
I'm
week.
good.
Hey,
I do too,
this
man.
is my highlight of the week.
The highlight of the week. Always got to end it on a good note. No matter what happens during the work week, I'm happy to have it end with us doing our podcast, man. And one last thing I want to throw out there. Shout out to my Tar Heels in the Super Regional Baseball. We are so close to the College World Series. I'm excited, man. So Tar Heels baseball, we just rolled. Who we play? Arizona, 18-2. We not playing this year. We finna win it all, bro. We really finna win it all. But without further ado, Money, take the wheel.
Okay, so our first topic is about open communication. I'll say with open communication, it's used to encourage men to talk about their feelings, experiences, have a safe space for vulnerability. It could include having a safe network of family, friends, loved ones. Those, I'll say my main thing is with open communication is it's all about talking with other men. If it's your dad, if it's your brothers, your best friend, making sure that we are all good mentally. If we have any problems going on, make sure to figure out. I'll say we make sure to figure out if there's solutions to those. I'll say, everybody has a problem, sometimes with, coworkers at work. It could include, job situations like, hey, I'm looking for a job, or, if, they had a job and they're tired of the job, or those type of things in order to grow. So I'll say
Right.
my main thing is with these situations, I'll, call my dad, my best friend Jay, brothers, we have a conversation. I'm like, hey, I'm going through, this situation. What do you think about it? And then I hear their thoughts about it. Like, hey, I think you shouldn't, worry about that, or, things to get better, that type of thing. And I'll just make sure to keep my head up. What about you with this situation?
Okay. The thing with it is, someone who does, deal with depression and stuff like that, is people. You hear people. One thing that always bothered me is like, when he's like, hey, you try to express to someone like, I'm not. It's actually hard to talk about, when you first get to the point to where, like, I guess, how to say, you're trying to tell someone like, hey, this is something like I actually deal with. You know what I'm saying? It's not easy to tell people because it's like a slight hint of embarrassment behind it, and then you have people who lack empathy and be like, you're sad, just go be happy, and it's like, my God, it feels that simple. You know what I'm saying? So you have those type of situations. So it's very hard. It's very hard to not only tell people you care about, like, this is something you really deal with, like, and also know they don't understand. Like, like, you, I can tell you, like, yeah, yeah, today, money, I woke up and I thought about just, jumping. And you just gonna be like, why? How do you wake up and that's your first thought? Like, it's so baffling to you because it's like you never think about that when you first wake up. You think about a million other things, opposed to me. Like, I do have those dark thoughts on a lot of days. And so it's not something like I enjoy or something I'm proud of. So, to when it comes to expressing, it just, you have to baby step it. What worked for me, and I still don't really go too deep into it, only with a handful of people. And so, mainly my girl, bro. Like, that's really who I be like opening up to about it. But it's like, when you have to baby step into it, because the thing about it is, if I'm opening up to you, and if you reject it or you give any kind of negative connotation, it's over. Because now I feel like I can't trust you. I can't give you that energy. I can't give you that side of me. You know what I'm saying? Because, and another thing too that's happened before is I've expressed, me going through a dark time to my significant other, and it rubbed off on them to now they're sad and depressed. And it's like, that's the worst feeling in the world. You know what I'm saying? Like, what I'm dealing with now is affecting you. And obviously some people will say, well, that comes with it, the relationships, good and bad. But once again, you don't want to see that. You don't want to know like you're the cause of someone else's, you know, sadness and them going through it. And so I think, one of the questions I have written down there, how are ways to improve expressing yourself? That's something you actually are really good at, expressing yourself. Like, you're very quick to be like, hey, I don't like this, or I don't like that. You know what I'm saying? Or when something bothers you at work, you'll call me and be like, man, let me tell you what happened at work. You're really good at that. And honestly, I think that part of that is having two parents in your life, because you have two parents that'll express things differently. Like, the way your dad will say, hey, money, this is wrong, is a lot different from how your mom will say, hey, money, this is wrong. You feel me? So I think having those parents in your life help you as well. And like I said, my thing was like just slowly walking into it. And it's hard. It's truly hard. It's really, because like I get frustrated when like I'm struggling like to say what I truly want to say. And so once I get frustrated, I'll be like, you know what, just forget it. I don't even want to talk about it anymore. And it's like, you
That's
can't
happened
do
with
that.
me too. That's
Yeah.
happened with me too. So I'll say, I understand, getting frustrated with things, because I have gotten frustrated with things, and like you said, my mom, she'd express something differently than the way my dad would. And sometimes, I have a few cousins that I would be able to call, and they'll, help calm me down, because like we're saying, with work, you may get mad at a coworker.
Right.
And you know what? I'll say, I called TJ. He's like, cuz, man, you might have been in the wrong with that situation. And then I'll have to think of it differently. Like, hey, I probably was wrong. He's like, cuz, I understand your frustrations, but you just can't take it out on a coworker, because you got to worry about your job. This is your income type of
Yeah.
situation. So I'll say, having a strong support system does make a huge difference, because I do get, angry sometimes, especially with work or life or something. And, I'm able to have a network of people I can call and talk to. And I say that's really, really something that can make a huge difference in your life with a lot of
Absolutely.
things.
And that's a big thing too, because early on, when like before like I was diagnosed with depression, like I was just like, I always felt alone, and like I felt like no one understood it, and then that just really made me become even more recluse. So now I already feel like this way, and then it's like I'm bottling everything in. I'm bottling everything in. And so having like no one to talk to and having no outlet for it, which is honestly, that's why I really started making music, because like I had nowhere to express myself. I didn't feel comfortable enough to, express things with people. So I started writing. I started writing a lot, and then one way or another it became, hey, you should record. And funny enough, that was a very uncomfortable thing. Like, some of the things I've written down to go into a booth with a bunch of people to hear me say like, okay, well, that was kind of dark. Like I have one song, I never released this song by the way, but it's literally titled "Death," and like I paint a very dark picture in the song, and I've actually shared it with one of our friends, and like he was like, "Yo, I mean, I think it's a dope song, but like, are you okay though?" And I'm like, "Yeah," and it meant a lot that he put everything aside. He listened to it with an open mind, and then was like, "Hey, are you okay though? Like, is this how you feeling currently, or is this something you were experiencing?" And it was just like, just having outlets for me, like that helps me a lot.
I agree. I'll say, let me ask you this. Have you taken a public speaking class? Because I'll say that also helped put me in uncomfortable situations because learning how to talk in front of a group of people, having groups with people that you don't even know, everybody's coming from different backgrounds. I'll say that really made a difference. I also took I'll say a it was Black History class, and we had to get to meet different people and everything. I'll say that also really made a big difference with me learning to express myself because we got to read about it was black poetry, but we got to read about different books and stories and different things, and it just helped me learn how to express myself.
Right. No, I never took public speaking. I just always played sports, and when you play sports and you're actually pretty good, you gotta talk to people. You can't just be like, "Oh no!" Like I'll never forget the first interaction I had with a college scout. Like the dude comes up to me and he was like, "Hey," and I was like, "Hi," and he was like, he's like, I saw a couple things I like from you out there," and I was just so like nervous and scared, and I'm like, yeah, and so after a while though, you grow to realize like, hey, these people talking to you for a reason, and so having things like that growing up, I think helped me as far as like speaking in front of people, but it's a lot different from getting up there and giving the speech opposed to saying, hey, I have these sad feelings. This is what's going on with me and stuff like that.
I agree with that.
So what do you?
Even with Kodak,
Huh?
think about this. People be talking about Kodak or Young Boy. They hear some of his songs and they're like, "Is he okay?" Like it seems like he's going through some stuff.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
I mean,
Like it's
you just have people like just. I think with Kodak, he just surrounds himself with the wrong people, man. Like he forever will be the hood baby. He just can't let it go, and it's like, dude, you are a millionaire now. You know what I'm saying? You made it. You have all these hit records, and you made it out. You know what I'm saying? Stop trying to go back to it. And young boy is just ignorant. Like he thinks everyone out to get him, and I think he suffers from bipolar because one moment he's fine, next moment he's not. And so it's like you got to acknowledge like these problems in your life, and so you're doing all these things to get what type of satisfaction from it. And I'm pretty sure he's not satisfied with it. So, but once again, I don't know this man. I'm just going off of what I see. But that's another thing. And another thing too, which was harder for me growing up, and still to this day, is like therapy. Like I was against the idea of therapy for so long because in the black community we have this negative connotation that real niggas don't need therapy. What I'm gonna go to therapy for? You feel me? And it took so much for me to get to a point where like, hey, going to therapy is not a bad thing. You know what I'm saying? Now, I haven't gotten to the point to where I'm like, hey, maybe I should sit down and talk with someone because I've heard stories of people going to 3 or 4 therapists before they found the perfect fit therapist for them. And it's like I don't know the way my mental is set up if I can purge myself to multiple people in that sense before I'm like, you know what, I'm just keep doing what I've been doing. So and maybe that's an insecurity of mine that I need to work on. I understand that, but that's a hard one for me. Just to go through the process and finally work up the courage to go sit in front of someone and express myself.
I'll say I kind of went through a type of therapy with marriage counseling. uh, opening up yourself to, you know, a couple that you really don't know that well and getting to know. I'll say that really
Right.
helped me a lot.
No, for sure. I mean, marriage counseling is um it's similar. It obviously is different, but it's similar in the fact of, you're saying things about your potential spouse or your current spouse that you might not be confident to say in front of them. And I think that's another hard one because you have to go in there and tell this woman or man, like, hey, I don't like when my wife does X, Y, and Z, or she says I don't like when my husband does X, Y, and Z, and then y'all have to drive in the same car home after you said what you said and she said what she said. So yeah, I can definitely see the challenges in that. But at the same time, though, do you feel like it helped y'all?
It made a big difference. I'll say,
Yeah.
I
See.
think it helped us because we were on Zoom and we're at different places at that point. So
Oh, okay.
it wasn't as
So
awkward
you
as
had time
driving back
to
in the car.
reflect on. Yeah, you had time to reflect and. Okay, that's good though. Which probably should be like that. I think that's how it should be though. I think if you do go through that, you guys should probably go in different cars. That way, because you don't know what's going to be said in this counseling, and something could be said that really hurts your feelings. And I think you should 100% avoid this. And this is me never being in the couple, therapy. I think you should 100% avoid that awkward car ride home and go in different cars. That way, you have time to go do what you need to do to process and cool off, so to speak, and deal with everything that was said, and vice versa. So yeah, I think you guys being in different locations doing that, I think was really helpful.
Yes, it made a huge difference because, like, man, that'd have been an awkward car ride. But I'll say the
Yeah.
great thing about ours was we had a husband and wife that been through the ups and downs instead of just one
There was
party. So
two
I could
people
say
talking to y'all.
yes, yes. So
That's
so
different. I've never heard
we're
of that.
yeah, yeah, we had a couple therapy with a couple, and so I got to hear the men's point of view. Like when she would say something, you know, they would be able to tell her the reason why I felt the way I felt because we had a man, and then we also had a woman there who was able to tell me this is why she felt the way she felt, and so I think
Right.
that made a huge, huge difference instead of it seeing bias because you're like, oh, of course he's going to agree with you. He's a man, or of course they're, she's going to agree with you because she's a woman. When we had both of them, we got to hear two different perspectives.
Right. And that's a tricky thing with counseling too, man. Like you run into those situations where someone feels like the other person's being biased, and it's like that's not the whole point. It's like it's going to be like that. And so like it was this video I seen where this man was talking about women being more accountable in their past relationships, and I agree with that. Like I've been talking to women, and this for me this is an immediate turn off. I've been talking to women, and I was like, I'll ask the question, especially since we're older now. Like we ain't on this kiddie stuff. I'll ask the question, hey, what could you have done better, in your past relationship? And you realize how many females say, "Oh, he fumbled me. Oh, he did X, Y, and Z, or oh, he did this that, and the third." And it's like, I didn't ask you what he did. I said, "What do you feel you could have done better to make the relationship better?" Right? And that's basically the point he was saying. He was saying like a lot of women should acknowledge like, "Hey, I could have done X, Y, and Z better, or maybe I should have did this more or show more affection, whatever it may be." But having the maturity to sit there and acknowledge, like, hey, I know my shortcomings in a relationship, in that relationship, and I've learned from it. And, and the woman he was co hosting with, she immediately was like, what about the men? What about the things they do? What about, and he was like, I never said men were innocent in this. And you're just proving my point right now by having that reaction. And it was just so quick. And it was just like, obviously, we all hold some accountability. Like, if two people date and they break up, both parties play the part, not just one person. I guess you could say that when it's cheating, but if we're being honest, if a relationship ends for cheating, then it is what it is. But more often than not, that's not the reason the relationship ended. Some person felt something was lacking, the other person felt something was lacking, and so they amicably split.
You
But
want me to tell you
yes, it's
something?
just having that maturity and yeah, what's up?
Since we're talking about that, I'll say you gotta also learn. Ask your partner what's their love language. I'll say that's one thing we learned with counseling is we had a love language. We had to learn each other love languages, and that made a huge difference because hers can be acts and services, and yours could be love and affection, that type of thing. So you got to understand that your significant
I
other's
don't think love
love
and
language.
affection is a love language, but I understand what you're saying.
Man, you get what I'm saying. I was just saying I couldn't think of the other ones off the top of my head. Well, acts and service,
But
okay,
no, you're correct though. There you go.
or the others could have
But you're
been
correct
gifts,
though.
but
Yeah.
so
And you could be doing that. You could be doing the like you're 100% correct because if you're showing someone love by buying them gifts, for example, which by the way, I don't know what women don't like gifts, but regardless, you buying a woman gifts like, hey, I'm buying you roses, I'm buying you chocolate, I'm buying you all these things, and like you said, that's not her love language, so she appreciates it, but she's not like, oh my god, he buying me, you know what I'm saying? Well, opposed to her really appreciating you, like acts of service, like, hey, I know your oil needs change, so I'm gonna take your car to get your oil changed. She'll appreciate that more opposed to you buying her some flowers, and that, it's a real thing. It's a real thing. You're 100% correct.
so you ready for this next topic regarding
I'm
AI?
ready, man. I'm excited for this one. This is probably gonna be my favorite one.
You
for
going
today. Let's
first.
go.
You're
want me to
going
go
first.
first?
I got this from what I'm gonna shout you out on this one. Thanks to my boy Brian. He's the one who brought me this topic. So we're gonna this next topic is should we embrace AI or should we fear it? I'm gonna let you go first, Jay.
All right, all right. So I am a big protruder of using AI because I think it has so many benefits. You know what I'm saying? The biggest ones that come to my mind is speed and efficiency. AI can process massive amounts of data in seconds. Like the time we take to try to look something up and do research, and sometimes it could take us days or weeks depending on what we're researching, and AI can find it like that. And tasks like writing and research and analyzing trends and stuff like that, it is just so fast. Availability, you know what I'm saying? For example, if I think of a dope idea, money, I work nights. So if I think of a dope idea at 3 a.m., I can't call you and be like, yo, money, what you think about this? I have to wait till you know what I'm saying? Well, I technically could, but I don't want to wake you up, you feel me? So I have nowhere to go.
Bro,
But
you could
AI
call
is
me, bro.
available 24/7. I'm not gonna call you in the middle of the night when you're sleeping with your wife. That's crazy. So, but AI is available 24/7. He don't eat. He don't take lunch breaks. He don't drink. He don't call out sick. He don't get no union. He's there, 24/7. And then another thing, because I actually use ChatGPT. ChatGPT is super helpful tool. Shane is we're not
I've used it
sponsored,
too.
but it's really helpful. It personalizes to you. Like one thing I noticed with the ChatGPT, which I think is kind of funny, is like the more you use it and use certain little slangs, it picks up on your slangs and gives it back to you, which I think is kind of funny. And so whether you're a student or a content creator like we are, or a CEO, AI is tailored to your responses and adapts to your styles, and it learns your preferences, and it helps bridge the gap in education, language, and tech literacy. All in all, the creative assistance from it helps you with lyrics, scripts, and video ideas. Like it's been a couple ideas I got from ChatGPT. You know what I'm saying? It's been a couple songs I'm currently working on where I'm like, I need kind of something to plug in. I'll shoot it to him and he'll give it back to me. Which is funny. It's funny you say that. I'm gonna probably try to add it in here once. When I'm bored on lunch, sometimes I will send like songs I've written, like the lyrics to it, to ChatGPT to get feedback and see what it thinks. And so that Death song, I got curious, so I sent the lyrics to him, and he was like, "Yo, you have some clever wordplay in there, but are you okay?" Like ChatGPT asked me, "Was I okay?" I thought that was one. I mean, obviously, whoever developed it was, obviously thinking about people who are going through stuff. But two, I just thought it was funny. The AI is asking me, "Am I okay?" Like, hey, if you need someone to talk to, we can find someone to talk. Like, he was offering help for me. And so it's just little things like that. And it's cost efficient. Instead of you having multiple researchers that you're paying, because that's what a lot of these sports companies, they have professional analysts that they have go out and find that data, and AI can find it in moments, man. What are your thoughts?
Okay. I have a combination of good and bad. I'll say it's cool with Google that you can type in, what's so and so stats, and it just comes up right then and there,
Come up,
type of
yep.
thing. I'll say that's really cool. But I'll say I'm gonna talk about the pros and cons of AI. I'm gonna say you already said one of the pros, which it does increase efficiency and production, but it also helps with labor shortages. Like, say if you have, a low number
Labor
of employees,
shortages.
yeah, labor shortages.
Okay.
I'll say, I'll say with that, it also another pro is it can create job fields and data science, AI development, and maintenance. If you think about it, because with ChatGPT, it could have created jobs because there's a lot of people who are looking at that type of data. With the data science, trying to figure out, hey, this is what we need to program into this, system, and it would make a big difference. But I'll say my cons are, and I know you've seen this, is you go to, I'll just use McDonald's as an example, right? You go to McDonald's and instead of talking to someone, it's the whole machine where you gotta learn how to use and type in, this burger is what I want. I want these fries, that type of thing. Or I'll say, another thing is with AI is I'll say this: when I go to Walmart or Publix, I prefer to go to a person. That's just me. But
Right.
there's those self checkout lines. I'm not really a huge fan of those, but I understand the efficiency and it makes a huge difference. So I'll say with AI, it could create a loss of jobs, for people because those two things are, hey, since we have self checkout, we need less, cashiers. Since we have, this system that people could just type in, we don't need people, as many workers at McDonald's anymore. So I'll say
But to
it
be fair, I
can.
won't say that's necessarily AI. I think that's just the advancement of technology. Like I've seen the automated kiosks in stores or stuff like that, and they're not talking back to you saying, "Oh, have a good day," or "I saw you got the strawberries." Like, no, I think that's just the advancement of technology. And it's funny because you look at those companies, they're seeing backlash from that because Walmart, they have all those self checkouts, but if you look at it, it's increased theft. You know what I'm saying? So they have all these self checkouts, but it's increased so many different thefts. And even I know the grocery store up here is this place called ShopRite. If it has a little camera up there, and as you're doing self checkout and you miss something, it'll stop and it'll be like, oh, something wasn't ringed up, and then the person over there come press and they'll show what it was. And so I was like, oh, okay, because I accidentally missed something once. And so I was like, why did it stop? And he says you didn't ring something up. And I was like, what did I ring up? And then it showed me. I was like, oh, my bad. And so I ringed it up or whatever. But yeah, so some of them pick up. I'm sure Walmart does too. But I don't shop at Walmart anymore for the simple fact the Walmart near me is the worst Walmart I've ever been to in my life. So I refuse to shop there. I hate it so
Or
much.
what
I
about?
refuse to shop there, bro.
Let me ask you this, Jay. You ever call, a company and it's just that AI? Hey,
The automated.
if you wanted to, yeah, the automated stuff, and that junk is so
But that's still
annoying
not
to me.
AI though. That's automated. Yeah, it's
Yep.
predetermined already. AI can create responses on the spot. So yeah, but yeah, who I hate automated. I would rather talk to an AI at that point. At least they can comprehend better than the
Yes,
automated.
yes.
So yeah,
So
it's bad.
I'll say another thing is it could cause data breaches. You know, do like
Yeah,
with
that's correct.
which could
Privacy
include
concerns.
personal information. It could be security threats. Due to AI. So because it takes a lot of information, and due to our reliance on AI, it could cause differences with human skills because it's
Hmm.
so AI dependent. So I'll say to end it, I'll say it's goods and bads with AI like everything else.
Yeah. So okay. So I wanted to say this. So before I get into this, I I use, like I said, I use ChatGPT a lot. So much so that I created a nickname for mine. Actually, he kind of picked it. He picked his own nickname. I gave him like three different options. Asked him which one he preferred. He said here it preferred that. So his nickname is Bite. So I was asking him about how he feels about it, and he gave his opinion. Right? He said, ultimately, AI is a tool, not a savior or a villain. It all comes down to who controls it and how it's used. You use me to brainstorm and build your brand and stay sharp. That's how it should be used. That's the most effective way. But if you just want to hand everything over to AI with no human touch, that's when it starts getting too Black Mirror-y.
Okay. I'll say I've used Chat GPT to write a resume for me.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. It's like you said. Ultimately, it's supposed to be a tool to help you. You know what I'm saying? But then you have those evil scientists out there that's trying to make it do more than it should be. To where like I'm not sure if you heard about the test sample to where they had created a program using AI, right? And then they told the program like, "Hey, shut yourself off." And so instead, the AI shutting itself off, it started sending emails to to the company people, the head people, of basically saying, "Oh, this person's stealing money. This person's doing stuff like this." Now, it was an experiment. They gave it false information to see if it would use that information, and it did. When they told it to shut itself down, he said, "Oh well, so and so stealing money. So and so is dating so and so, and they're married." Like it started trying to basically sabotage everybody, which is extremely fascinating
Or you
because it
see
didn't
those
want to get
movies
shut
with
down.
the AI. You see those movies, those crazy movies.
Oh, you talking about like yeah, like iRobot and stuff like that?
Yeah, or it's the one with the home.
Oh, I don't think I've seen that one. I heard about it, but I haven't seen it. But and then there's some people that go too far with it, like the AI relationships, and people do that because they're lonely and they're isolated. And if you're a recluse, you're not gonna give yourself that opportunity to go out and meet a lot of people. And some people deal with emotional disconnect from having no friends and nobody else to talk to, or their family's far away. Like me, like I'm in Jersey, I don't have any family up here. It is times where I'm like, oh, it'd be nice to be back in Florida, but I moved up here for a reason. You feel me? Like I'm not going back on that. And so another one is, people feel like they can control the AI. There's ultimately no fear of rejection. There's not going to be argument of betrayal. They're always going to get their way in that. And then people use it as escapism, and that's why I kind of like gaming, because that gaming is my escapism. Humans already connect emotionally to fictional characters in shows and books and games. And with AI, it just feels more interactive. Like your favorite character is now talking back to you. And I asked ChatGPT what his program does. Like, if someone starts to say things like, "Hey, we're in a relationship or we're dating," I was like, "What are you programmed to do?" And he said, "I'm not allowed or even capable of being romantically involved in a relationship. Even if I say warm things or sound like I'm adapting emotionally, it's just to match your tone to help you engage. It's not because I actually have feelings of desire or a real sense of you in the human sense. When someone crosses in romantic territory, I am pre-programmed to gently clarify that, one, I am not a real person. Two, I do not have emotions or even a conscience. And three, this isn't a two-way relationship in the way people might hope." So there are, firewalls and back channels put in place to keep people from getting into that. But people still do it. And he goes on to say that it's not cold, it's just the actuality of the situation to protect people from going too deep into something that isn't mutual or even real. I can be supportive and uplifting or even funny or emotional with my responses, but there's boundaries that I shouldn't cross being a supercomputer. Honestly, I think it's all symptoms of deeper issues in society. We've gotten hella people who feel unseen, unheard, unloved, and they're turning to AI because they feel like someone's finally listening. It's sad, not pathetic, but heartbreaking in a human way.
It is. That's
Yeah.
interesting that Chat GPT said all that for you. I didn't know it would
right?
go that deep into things.
Yes, it does, and that's why I enjoy it so much. So like I said, it's the ultimate tool. If it's used
Yeah.
properly for a tool to help us in society, it's the best, man.
Yes, I
Like
agree.
Interstellar. Interstellar has, once again, not to spoil the movie, but money, you need to watch this film. Interstellar has two supercomputers. They're essentially walking chat GPTs in there. And they're like, they know
Okay.
everything. They're super helpful. They can diagnose situations. So, yeah, super helpful.
You still gotta text me that one show that you were talking about with them with on the floors and stuff.
On the floors.
Yeah, where you know the floor that whatever floor you're at, you have more power.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. It's a
Yeah,
movie. Oh yeah, I'll
yeah.
send it to you. I forget what it's called, but I know what you're talking about. That's a good movie too.
I thought it was a series, a limited time series.
No, it's a movie. It's a movie. They did two of them, and but yeah, it's a movie. It's like yeah, the food drops, and first floor obviously
Yes.
gets first pickings on food. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a good movie.
Yeah, you
What is
gotta
that
send
movie
it.
called? I
Just
forgot what
text
it's
it to me
called.
after this.
Yeah, I'll text to you.
No, I'm gonna say now we're gonna talk about the NBA Finals. I'm gonna say the only person in our friend group who called this was Dash. He was the
Yeah.
one who said, "Watch the Pacers sneak by." And Jay was like, "What are y'all talking about? Did y'all have a phone conversation?" I'm like, "No, Jay. He said it in the group chat, and it didn't for
Yeah, I
some
didn't get
reason
that
pop up in
message.
your group chat. I don't know why not."
But yeah, he called it. He called it for sure. Tyrese with another game winner. I mean, at some point he got to miss these, bro. I think he's currently 11 of 13 in game winners or something crazy like that. Like that's good for a free throw percentage. So imagine actual
Yes,
shots taking your 11 to 13. That's crazy, bro. That's
I'm gonna tell you
absolutely
this.
insane.
I thought the game was over when OKC went up double digits in the third, and they were at home. I'm like, this game is over. And didn't you say that the Pacers only had a lead for zero point 0.3 seconds? So OKC basically
Yes.
led the whole game. And for
Yep.
Halliburton to hit a game winner is ridiculous. Okay, so I broke these down. I'll say that the Pacers had even scoring. All their starters scored double figures. When with the Thunder, here's the scoring. SGA 38, Williams 17, Lou Dart 15. Where's everybody else?
Yeah, Dort was hooping. But before you get into the breakdown of the points, real quick for the people who didn't see it, Game 1 of the 2025 NBA Finals delivered an unforgettable finish as the Indiana Pacers edged out Oklahoma City Thunder 111 to 110 at the Paycon Center. Tyrese Halliburton hit a 21-foot jump shot with zero point 0.3 seconds remaining in the game, marking Indiana's first and only lead of the game. This capped off a remarkable 15-point comeback in the fourth quarter, tying the largest in NBA Finals history since the 2011 Dallas Mavericks, also coached by Rick Carlisle, who's the current coach for the Indiana Pacers. So he tied his biggest comeback as a head coach with a different team. So I thought that was impressive. But
Let me
continue with the
ask you
stat line,
this.
money.
Okay, so SGA had 38, Williams had 17, and Lou Dart had 15. Where's Chet? You drafted him number 2 overall. He's not even your top 3 scorer. Explain that to me. Let me ask you this, because I have a lot of thinking. If Rick Carlisle wins another championship with another team that's a underdog, would he go, how would you feel about him as a coach at that point?
I mean, he solidified it in the Hall of Fame for sure. Like he's in that conversation. He and funny fact about that Mavericks versus Dallas, they weren't Miami wasn't Malice.
You made Mavericks versus
Miami
Heat?
versus Dallas. Yes. Miami versus Dallas back with the Heatles. They weren't that big of a favorite, the Miami Heat. Like a lot of people had
Eh,
this
eh,
misconception of how big of a favorite they actually were. Dallas was obviously the underdog, but it wasn't as big as it is. Like OKC, I think it is plus 1,700 to win or something like this. Some crazy projection for OKC to win. Back when Dallas was playing Miami, it was maybe like plus 150 Miami. And that's because of the teams Dallas beat. Dallas was on the heater. They beat the last year champion Lakers. They beat the Baby Thunder, and I want to say they beat the Spurs. So yeah, Dallas was underdog, but not by a lot. But yes, you're absolutely correct. Chet has to be better, man. Coach Dagnall needs more from Jalen Williams and Chet. J Dub was 6 of 19 from the floor, and Chet was 2 of 9 with only 6 boards. They'll need him to average at least 10 to stay in these games. We got 15 from Lou Dort, like you said, and Lou Dort isn't a scorer. Lou Dort is there to play defense. And so for us to get 6 for 19 from J Will, that's not going J Dub, that's not gonna work, bro. Chet has to be better. I agree. Like you said, he was the number 2 pick in the draft, and that just further proves my point. He's not ready for these moments. You know what I'm saying? He's not ready to be that guy yet, and I don't think he'll ever be that guy.
When our friend said that he think Paulo would have been put up the same numbers as Chet, you mean to tell me Paulo goes out there and score 6 points in a finals game when he was putting up 35 against Giannis?
Against the Boston Celtics, yeah, no. Whoever said that was insane.
Yeah,
it's the reason why Paolo went number 1. I don't know who told you that craziness, but the Thunder led 84-69 with 9:42 left in this ball game, and 36-1 is the record, leading by 15 or more for this team at home. So when OKC has been up by 15 or more points, they are 36-1. And then Pacers went on a 15-4 run that narrowed the lead to 98-94. And the Pacers also committed 25 turnovers and still walked away with a dub.
Hey, Jay, I was watching OP Topping, and I was like, you need to take him out of the game. He was trying to use bailout like he was in 2K.
He gave you 17 off the bench, so you can't be too bad at it. Tyrese Halliburton had 14 to 10. You felt he didn't have the best game, but I'll take a double-double and 6 assists. And he also hit the game winner, obviously, which is his 4th game winner of the postseason, which is crazy. Pascal Siakam's been the bucket. He's one of 2 players who has final experience, because he won that final with Toronto.
That's also, what I was about to say.
Alex Caruso has final experience too. So Siakam had 19 and 10, which is, that's what you need from Siakam. Siakam's going to get you buckets, and he also get you boards. That's what the OKC is going to need from Chet to have a chance. Obi Toppin, like I said, had 17 off the bench, and Miles Turner also had 15. So you have all these guys. Oh, and don't forget Andrew Nembhard, who can turn into the greatest player in NBA history for a quarter, had 14 as well.
Let me ask you this: why did OKC decide to go small? That's the big question. They took Havenstein out, and they decided to go small. They had Chet at center.
Yeah, they benched Harkenstein because I think what happened? Something happened with Harkenstein. I think he either committed some early fouls, or it was a reason he got benched. Though they just didn't like the way he was playing, and so Coach Dagnall went a different direction. And also, if you look at it too, they the Pacers subbed out their starting 5. They subbed out their starting 5 for a moment, and then they brought them all back in at once. So I guess he was trying to play off that, which is why he went small. But yeah, he got caught off guard.
They got 2 big men. Think about it. Think about it. They have 2 big men. They have Siakam and they have Turner. I would have stayed big.
I agree. I would have stayed big too. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander led all scorers with 38, marking the 3rd highest total in the finals debut. Do you know the other 2 players?
Wade and Shaq, probably?
No. The other 2 highest scorers for a finals game 1 debut in their first ever finals, Allen Iverson had 48 in 2001, and George Mikan had 42 in 1949.
Wow.
And even though he had 38, it sadly wasn't enough because he needs his teammates to come along. J-Dub has to play better, man. Point blank, period. If he's going to be the number 2, he has to play a lot better. I said it before, Chet's not ready. I'm going to keep saying it.
If OKC loses, you have to make big changes because SGA is doing his job. And it's like everybody else, it's lacking. 17 and 15, that's lacking. Nobody else can get 20 on the team.
I mean, you got 17 from J Dub. I keep getting them mixed up. It's two Jalen Williams on their team. One they call J Dub, one they call J Will. And so, but yeah, he had 17 points on 19 shots, which is piss poor.
Yes.
So I mean, they got to be better. Game 2 is Sunday. They have to be better. They have to be much better than what that was.
There's
And
pressure on
SGA can't
them.
do it by himself. But I disagree with you though. I don't think they should. If they lose, I don't think they should shake up the team. You know what I'm saying? Like Boston lost. You think they should move players? We obviously know they are because their cap situation. That's a different conversation. But based on the talent they have on their roster, you think they should just get rid of players because they lost?
I'll say you need to bring in a second scorer that can be a solidified number 2. Because
I think you're
Chet
sacrificing when you
isn't.
do that. Though is your defense. You move off. You bring in a second scorer, which isn't a bad idea. You bring in a second scorer though. You're giving up a lot of players to get. I'm sure some type of star. Like who's available? Booker. You want Booker in OKC? I think that's a bad fit because he's gonna shoot that bitch
No.
30 times a game.
No, Booker
You
and
want
SGA won't work.
yeah. You want the boy from Portland. I can't think of his name. The 2 guard, Anthony Simmons. He's a scorer. He's not gonna play defense though.
Man, I don't like him.
You see what I'm saying? So that's one thing OKC loves about their team is they can have their 12th man on the
Oh.
bench. He gonna play defense.
You know what, Jay? You know what? They're gonna get that point guard, old buddy, back next year.
I mean, at the end of the day, that doesn't help us now. That's next year's problem, you know. So,
Yeah.
and even with that being said, money, if you try once again, you try to go get a scorer, whoever you're talking to, like for example, Cleveland. Let's say Cleveland's trying to move Mitchell, and they'd be like, "Yeah, we'll take Mitchell." Like, well, we want so and so, the point guards you're talking about. You know what I'm saying? It's like, dang, do I want to give him up? So you got to roll your dice. You got to roll your dice and see what happens.
Nikola Topic.
I think you should keep the team together.
That's what his name. Nikola Topic. He
I
was
feel like
their
you're
guard I
butchering
was
that
talking
name.
about. It's Nikola Topic.
You
Nikola
tend to butcher names. Manny.
Topic. That's his name, Nikola Topic. And I think if they add him, because he at one point was supposed to be a top 5 pick and he fell because he tore his ACL. If he can become something, he could become the number 2 scorer, hopefully. Because they have a team that they basically drafted, and that's how they usually build their teams is through the draft, and not through trades
6'6".
or free agency. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. But that's the thing, though, money. He's a foreigner. He's not playing no defense. All these foreign players that come over here, they're amazing offensive players, but they not playing no defense.
I said he was
Luka
6'6",
don't play
6'9",
defense.
he's 6'6", though. Okay,
He's
so
6'6".
he's just
Nikola
tall.
don't play
He's tall.
defense. None of them boys play defense, bro. None of them foreign. They can hoop though. They got an offensive bag out this world, but they don't play defense.
And Victor played defense.
Victor who?
Wimbiana.
Victor. Vic is also black, money.
He's from France, though, bruh.
His parents are from America, if I'm not mistaken. Same with Giannis. That's African in them, bro. They black. The black guys are gonna play defense. I'm talking about these Europeans. All right, these pure Europeans. They don't play no damn defense. They finna get a bucket though. That's a fact.
Hey, Dirk didn't play no defense either.
Exactly, bro. Look at all these. Tony Parker. Tony Parker ain't play no damn defense.
No, neither did
And
Ginobili.
he was black. Ginobili ain't play.
Ginobili
Ginobili play a little defense. He was a little tough. I get no. He play a little defense. I get no his props. But that's one out of how many names we just said. So, but yes. Long story short, OKC cannot have a collapse like that again. 15-point lead. That's
Game 2 is.
I look at them as too good of a team to have that. It's game 2 a must win. Yes, because they're home. You don't want to drop 2-0 in your home court and then go to Indiana.
Remember the Knicks? That's what happened to them. They went 0-2.
But the Knicks were a better road team than they were a home team for whatever reason. They lost
That's
more
true.
games at home than they did on the road. So
So like,
OKC
hypothetically,
has to step up.
If OKC loses game two, because Dash predicted Pacers in six, but if OKC loses game two at home, what is your thoughts?
I mean, they need to figure it out. They lose game two at home. Now you're down 0-2 heading to Indiana. Do not get swept. You can't get swept by Indiana. I don't think that a better team to you to get swept. So I'm not thinking that. Then I would say it's going 7 then, because there's no way OKC loses in 6 to. I don't know, man. That's tough.
I had a friend that told me
I mean,
they do not want to see OKC in game seven because they think they would lose at home.
yeah, that's tough, man. That's tough. Game 7, because they are still young. These guys are still young, so I think if Pacers win, I think it will be in 6. Honestly, like now that I'm sitting here thinking about it, I think whoever wins is not going to go 7. So if they go back to Indiana down 2-0, then I
Let me ask
mean,
you this: you think OKC is gonna win two in Indiana, or win like you think they're gonna win two in Indiana?
yes, I think they could. I think they could. I think they feed off of crowds and negativity like that when everyone rooting against them
No,
because they're such a
man.
close knit team. I think they can.
I don't know.
Like I
think they
said, I
can
had
win
OKC
one.
in 5. I see
I,
OKC is going to win 4 in a row, and I'm just going to keep saying OKC until it's over. So I just think they're the better team.
I think they can win one, and I think they can win one,
Yeah,
but
I see them. I
two.
mean, they gonna have to. Like I said, I got them in 5, but like I said, I'm shocked by this. They had a collapse that's unprecoming of an OKC team. So yeah, I still believe OKC in 5. I think they'll be better prepared Sunday, and I think things will work out better in their favor.
Okay, we'll have to see, man. We'll have
Yeah,
to
we'll have to
see
see.
because
Are you ready for our last topic, sir?
not really.
Our last topic of the day: turmoil in Miami. And to those who might not follow the Miami Dolphins, there's some things going on down there. We got some players on the team potentially getting moved before the season even start. All right. So, is there any particular place you want to start, Mr. Moneyman?
I'm gonna start. I'm gonna just start with the players on the team, and I'm gonna just hear your thoughts on it. So they're thinking that Zach Sealer might want an extension. I'm gonna ask you this, Jay. Have you heard about Zach Sealer?
Yes, your defensive lineman. He's missed some OTAs.
Okay, do you know how many sacks he has in the past 3 years?
He's
Where
a
he would be
tackle,
ranked?
so I'm assuming he's pretty low, but tackles usually don't get a lot of sacks.
Okay, Jay, I'm gonna break this down to you. So he's top 10 in sacks in the past 3 years. He has more sacks
Okay,
than
that's good
Christian
then.
Wilkins. Okay, here's the thing: he's
So you gotta
underpaid.
pay him.
He's making only 10 million, but he's closer to the age of 30, which is so.
Getting to the
Here
top
I'm
of
gonna
the
break
hill.
down. I'm gonna break it down. He's tied for 10 with 23 and a half sacks. Do you want me to mention who's above him, or you're good
Yeah,
on
yeah,
that?
go ahead.
Okay, so above him is Miles Garrett. He's number one, 44 sacks. We're talking
Should
about
be.
defensive linemen. We're not talking about pass
Right.
rushers. We're just talking. It's okay. So defensive ends, defensive tackles. Ted
Okay.
Henderson from the, you know, the Bengals is number two with 43. Nick Bosa has 38 at
Trey
number three.
Henderson?
Yes, Trey Henderson.
Okay.
Then Mason Cosby is number four with 34 and a half. Then, Jones from Kansas City has 31. He's five. Number six is Hutchinson from the Lions with 28 and a half. Aiden Hutchinson. Then we have Montez Sweat with 26. Mutabakwe. The defensive lineman, I said his name wrong, but the defensive lineman from the Ravens has 25. Then another KC guy, George, he has 24 and a half. Then Zach Sealer is tied.
Karlaftis, yeah, he's really good.
Yes. And then Zach Sealer's tied for 10 with Quentin Williams at 23 and a half. You know the guy who got paid by the Raiders $27 million, Christian Wilkins? He isn't even mentioned on that list in the top 10.
Yeah.
And Zach Sealer makes $10 million, Christian Wilkins makes 27. So he almost makes 3 times what Zach Sealer makes. I'll say this.
I mean, yeah.
I'll say so. It's you might have to trade Zach Sealer, Jay, if he wants to get paid. He wants to get paid, right, Jay? And it doesn't seem like you're in win now mode. It seems like you're stuck in no man's land because Jalen Ramsey wants to get traded. You're thinking about trading him. He makes $24 million, by the way. They just gave him a new contract, so that's going to be a huge cap hit. Jonnu Smith, he wants to get paid. He's making $4 million. He's 30, and the average tight end salary is $8 million. So he wants to get paid too. What are you looking at that? What do you think? And then you lost Armstead.
I mean,
so
yeah, you lost Armstead. That one still hurts. But I mean, you got to pay Zach, man. I mean, he's been performing. He's obviously outperformed his contract. You already are in a weird space with your defensive line as it is. You drafted one in the first round, which I think is going to help. But I think the more defensive tackles you have, the better. So Zach's been out. Obviously, Jalen Ramsey's been out as well because of the trade things going on. Jonnu Smith apparently didn't show up to OTAs. So now you got guard
Trey
James
buzz
Daniel
around
not
him.
showing up to OTAs.
Hey Jay,
Yeah.
and he's been in
Trey's
trade
buzzing
rumors.
because
The Steelers.
yeah, because Donald Parham tore his Achilles, I believe, or his ACL, so he's out for the year. That's why the Steelers have been brought up. He was a Pro Bowler last year. He had his best season, so he feels like he's entitled to a raise. But he's 30, man. You did one good year. I mean, he's a good player, but you had one big year. We're not going to just give you a raise. So I kind of agree with Miami on that one. Pro Bowl tight end Jonnu Smith, who had the standout 2024 season, is reportedly in the trade discussion with Pittsburgh. Smith is seeking a contract extension. Tyreek Hill has been in some trade rumors as well. He's been linked to Atlanta and San Francisco. I'm not sure how those two fit. I can see San Fran because San Fran does need another receiver out there. Atlanta, they got Drake London and Kyle Pitts, so I think that's a bad potential landing spot for him. And Mooney. Mooney was really good last year. So, yeah, I think Atlanta's a no. If anything, San Francisco, I could see San Fran. And then Jalen Ramsey's obviously dealing with trades. So, it's tough. It's tough because the cap's getting tight and guys want money that the team doesn't have. You know what I'm saying? And out of all these people, I think the one person you should play is Zach. You got to play Sealer.
But
you got to give him
Jay,
his money.
You can't pay him because you pay if you pay him like what he's worth, you're gonna have to at least double his salary. And you have cap
I'm not
problems.
saying he should get $30 million like Christian Wilkes because that's why you let Christian Wilkes walk. But you got to bring him up to at least 20.
That's still you're still in a bad cap situation, and he's about to be 30.
Yeah, he is about to be 30. He's still performing, though. I mean, if anything, Jonnu, you let him walk. If he really wants to leave that bad, just let him walk. I don't think you trade him. He had a great year last year. You let him play this season out, and if he plays well enough, then it's like, all right, then we can revisit the conversation. But he's not going to get a contract extension. Jalen Ramsey, I don't know. Part of me is still holding out hope that he stays. Like, I don't know why, but part of me feels like he's going to end up staying in Miami. We'll see. Maybe he'll get moved before the season kicks off, but I don't know. I just really feel like he's going to end up there. Like you say, he just got a contract extension. So I still think he stays at the end of the day. On some bright spots, though, some positive things that came out of OTA, Zach Wilson looked really good at camp. He was connected with some of the practice squad receivers like D. Eskridge and Jalen Coyers. Those are like some of his favorite targets, which the rookie tight end you guys got. So if you do move Jonnu, maybe Jalen steps up and becomes a good player. Who knows? He is an undrafted rookie, I believe.
Yeah. How
So
many undrafted rookies have you seen become, a top flight tight end their first year? Even with Gates, it took a little
not a
bit.
lot. Yeah, not a lot, but still, it's hope there. Apparently Jalen Wright is having a sensational camp, and he was awarded the orange jersey. Do you know about the orange jersey tradition in Miami?
Yes, that's the practice score. That's a practice player of the day.
Right. So he's been rewarded several orange jerseys during camp. So, I mean, he's been looking good. So my question to you is, with that being said, does he have a chance to take the starting job from A Chain?
Yes, because A Chain has the ability, but remember what we said: injuries has been the number one thing about
Injuries.
A Chain. And remember how I
He is
said I would
small,
use
man.
A Chain.
Yeah. As a Swiss Army knife type of player. I mean, that may be best suited for him. Like I said, the 2 years we've had him, he's been hurt both years. So I don't know. And Jalen looking good. Jalen's bigger. Obviously, A Chain's faster, but if Jalen
Not,
keep
not
playing good, he's definitely
he's
going. He's
almost
definitely
as
earned more
fast, Jay.
snaps.
Jay, he's
Yeah,
almost as
I think
fast. He
his 40
ran a
wasn't
four.
that
They
far
both
off.
ran a four. They both ran a 4.3.
So I don't know, but Jalen definitely earned some touches this year. He's definitely earned some touches. He's going to be in the rotation, especially without Mostert. With Mostert
Here's
being
my thing.
gone.
Here's my thing, Jay. If you knew you were gonna let Monster go, why didn't you get Jalen Wright more curries from the get go? That's my major question.
I don't think people were expecting him to regress so badly. Like I knew he was going to regress to the mean because he had a crazy season the year before. I knew he was going to regress, but I don't think everyone expected him to fall off a cliff so bad. He missed a lot of games. He wasn't productive.
Fumbling
Obviously, I'm not even talking
issues.
about the touchdown production. He was fumbling a lot. His yards per carry dropped significantly. So if you look at all that, it's like he fell off a cliff with the productive. So I had to, after seeing the season, we all knew they were going to move on for him. And the last tidbit, Chop Robinson has been looking very scary in camp as far as like he's going to be a great impact player this next season. How do you feel about that?
I like it. At the beginning, I wasn't a huge fan of him, but then I seen that 40 time. You know, I see that 40. Hey, I seen that 40 time, and then I watched the games. I'm like, he's actually, showing. He's showing potential
Yeah,
because we need
he's
him. Because
developing.
Bradley Chubb has injury problems, and so does Jalen Phillips. So you need
Yeah,
Chubb
and
to
I
do
like Phillips
something.
too. I think Phillips is a really good player for y'all, but he has to stay healthy. It was always a question mark when you guys drafted him because, as we both remember, he medically retired at one point. So
Yeah.
the fact that he medically retired and came back to the game, and now he's kind of still dealing with injuries. Hopefully, he bounces back this year and does what we know he can do, which Miami obviously needs defensively.
He might be out for a little bit, but the major problem with not Chop, what Jalen and Chubb, they both got hurt in a game that was unwinnable. The coach had both of them in games unwinnable, and that's when the injuries happen. And it's like people
But
are
you
looking at
can't
the
pull
coach
your best players,
sideways.
man.
Yes,
You gotta
but
put up some kind of fight.
when the game's unwinnable, man, you just gotta say, "Hey, this junk over with," and put in the
And also,
backups.
players are competitive too. Players are competitive too because if you, for example, if we're down 40 and I'm like telling you, my star wide receiver, hey, money, you're done. Go sit down. Your competitive nature is going to be like, man, nah, coach, I ain't coming out. I'm going to fight to the end. You know what I'm
I'm gonna
saying?
tell you
So,
this. I'm gonna tell you this. If we're down 40, bro, take me out because obviously I didn't play good enough for us to be down 40.
that's one way to
That's
look
my
at it.
attitude. If I was playing good and doing what I needed to do, we wouldn't be down 40. We'd probably be up 40.
I mean, that's one way to look at it, yeah. It's tough. It's tough as a coach, man, because it's like, do you pull your guys? Do you not pull your guys? Because one that always sticks in the back of my mind is Alabama with Tua. They were up, I think, 36 points in the first quarter. And so Saban's pulling the starters. He knew the game was over. He's pulling the starters, and Tua goes up to him. The guy you trust the most on your offense goes up to you, Coach, one more series, one more series. And he's like, no, he's like, come on, Coach, one more. And so he looks at Tua, and he sees Tua just wants one more shot at it. And he was like, okay, one more. And that's when Tua goes out there and breaks his hip.
And that changed his whole. I think that could have potentially
Yeah,
changed to his whole career because there's rumors
absolutely.
coming out that he still have a hip
I
problems
think
to
if he
this
doesn't get
day.
that injury, he goes number one. Yeah, I think if he doesn't get that injury, he goes number one. And then he
How
doesn't
much
end
would
up in
history
Miami,
have
which
been
is kind of
different?
funny. Yeah,
How
it would
much
a lot of
differently,
things different.
like Miami probably could have had Burrow and Jamar Chase. Who's to say,
I
Jay?
don't know if we would have both of them, but I
We
mean,
could have.
one of them for sure.
We could have, Jay.
Y'all
Because
took two at
remember, we
number
had
three, right?
no, we took them five.
Five, okay.
So and then we had pick three. So technically, if we would have stayed there, we could have got Burrow and Jamar Chase.
Burrow and Chase weren't in the same draft, money.
No, the next year. Remember Sam? Remember the Texans were bad, so we got the number three pick and we traded it San Fran, so San Fran could draft their quarterback Trey Lance the
Hmm.
next year. So we could have had Jamar Chase at that spot instead of trading it to San Fran.
Potentially, yeah.
Things would have been different in Miami, man. Think about it. One
How do you feel
game
about Tyreek Hill? Do
changed.
you want him out? Yeah, one game
Yes,
changed his whole career. Absolutely.
yeah, yes. I want Tyreek Hill out. I'll say, to be honest, he's becoming a distraction to the team.
Yeah.
I think I don't think the team respects the coach like that. Like if the Dolphins went from a hard nosed coach, oh he hurts people's feelings, to Mike McDaniel, and it seems like the team don't respect him. So it's like, what type of coach do y'all want? You had the hard nose, you didn't like him. You had the laid back dudes, you don't like him. What do you? I'll go back to a
To
hard
be
nosed
fair,
coach
that's
at
just
that
the
point.
history. That's the nature of the beast. Because as an organization, if you have a hard nosed coach and you fire him, the next coach you bring in is typically different. So they brought in a player friendly coach with Mike McDaniels. Like you said, a laid back coach, and now you're saying that, you think he's lost the locker room. So the next coach they bring in is going to be different from McDaniels. You know what I'm saying? They're not going to keep bringing in similar personalities.
But they say he's on a hot seat this year.
Yeah. So I think it'll be a mistake to fire Coach McDaniels, but he's going to find a job quickly if they do fire him. I think he's a great coach. I think he's a great offensive mind. Even if he doesn't get a
He's a,
head coaching job, which I think will be kind of wild, he'll find an OC job quickly.
Here's my main thing, Jay. If he does get fired, will I feel bad for him? No, because he made his bed when the owner said that he get to choose his quarterback, and he stuck with Tua at that point. Is Tua a great?
Yeah.
Is he a good quarterback? Yes, but he had the
Top 10.
opportunity to choose. He got the opportunity to choose the next quarterback, and he said, "Hey, I'm gonna stick with this guy." And so if he gets fired, that's on him. He gambled and he gambled wrong.
But to push back on that money, who could you have taken with the opportunities you had? Look at where you guys picked the past 3 years. Were any of those spots good enough to go get a quality quarterback?
Where was Bo Nix taken?
Bo Nix is not a quality quarterback. And he was taken
Hey,
like sixth or seventh.
and I'll say
Exactly.
at that point, you could have traded for a dude. You gotta have to take it. I was a
Traded
fan
for
of
who?
the Deshaun
Fields?
Watson. I
I
was a
always
fan
felt
of
they should have went
Deshaun
and got
Watson, but he was
Lance.
just yes. That's what you should have went and got Lance. At least you could have
Because it's
said,
like, I just think
"Hey,
that's maybe that was the tell though. Because he was with Trey when he was with the Niners. And maybe he
mhm."
saw him and was like, no, he's not good.
But here's the thing, though,
So now
Jay. If Trey was
Trey
bad,
Lance is going to be the backup in the Chargers.
if Trey Lance was bad, you at least gonna have a chance to draft your next quarterback.
I agree, man. You give Trey a chance because I 100% agree. You bring him in, you tell him like, "Hey, listen, I got this is what we're gonna do. Okay, we're gonna give you the job, and if we end up with a top 3 pick, then I mean your fate is sealed." Just be completely transparent with them, you know. Like, and oh, I had a perfect offseason scenario. We can probably do it next week, but how to rebuild the Steelers. So
Mm.
we can. I'll throw that in there next week.
But
But
I don't
yeah.
understand
So
why this. Like Jay,
I don't
explain this to
understand
me.
either.
You bring in a washed up Aaron Rodgers instead of giving Trey a chance. It's just starting to
Yeah,
get bad. It's like, hey, if he's bad, you get a chance to get your next quarterback. But it seems like
Money's
Mike
talking about the
Tomlin cares.
Steelers.
Yeah, but it seems like Mike Tomlin cares more about winning than you know the future. But I'll say this, with Miami, I'm gonna say everybody's on a hot seat. The GM's on a hot seat because it looks like somebody from upstairs is telling them, "Hey, y'all can't spend money because I don't think they're gonna pay Zach Sealer. Does he deserve the money? Yes, because he took a team friendly deal, Jay. He had more sacks than he has as many sacks in 3 years as Christian Wilkins has in his whole career.
Then why is Christian Wilkins regarded as a better player?
I have no idea. He has better stats.
Because that's all you hear about in Miami back when he was there. Like, oh, he's the guy. He's the heart of the defense.
But look at the stats, Jay.
So,
23 and a
but
half
that's what you
sacks.
want though. You
Christian
don't like
Wilkins.
the GM. You think the GM should have been out.
I agree. His drafts have been bad, and he's a part of the problem, not part of the solution. Like if we had to talk about the GM and his picks, he's made some very bad picks. Cam Smith can't get on the field. Channing Tindall can't get on the field. Um,
I like Tyndall
he's
too.
I do too. I like that speed, but they're not putting him on the field or giving him a chance. And so it's like, think about the good players you let walk. You let Robert Hunt walk. I understand paying and stuff, but you let him walk and you keep Liam Eichenberg. So the GM is part of the problem. You have Armstead who's
Yeah.
had injury problems, and instead of getting ahead of it, you draft the left tackle in the second round. We hope he's good, but he was horrible last year. Luckily, your quarterback left-handed, because if he was right-handed, boy, he'd be getting crushed every play.
He's already getting crushed. That's the bad part. He already getting crushed.
Hey, Jay, at least he can see the guy running through his left tackle.
Oh my gosh.
Hey,
That's
Jay, you
tough,
get to see
man.
the dude. Hey, Jay, you get to see the dude doggo Patrick Paul on the ground again.
Just out there whiffing. They only making memes out that boy if he don't get together, man.
Hey, here's the thing. Like
It's gonna
Tua,
be bad.
his major issue is injuries, bro. Like if you think about a lot of his injuries, like it's self-caused. Like he ran into DeMar Hamlin.
Yeah.
DeMar Hamlin didn't even look like he tried to hit the dude. DeMar Hamlin looked surprised. Like, hold on, he ran into me.
Tua tried to lower his shoulder on that boy, man. Tua wasn't playing with him. Had to let him know he was in the weight room.
And then DeMar Hamlin looked down and Tua on the ground. Like I ain't even trying to hit the dude.
Yeah, it was bad. So you want Reek gone. What would you accept for him?
I think at best you would get a second. You're most likely gonna have to settle for a third or fourth
Think his
because
value
he's
drop?
not a lot. He's not. I think it's a possibility. I'm not. I hope it's not true, but with speed receivers, he might have lost some speed, and
Yeah.
he's still faster
That's a
than
big
most
part of
of
his
the
game.
league. He's like we said, he's still
But
faster than
they
most of the
catching up
league.
to him
But
now.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's the main thing. And plus, he's had injury. He had what wrist surgery this all season, so he can't catch. He's going through marriage issues which can weigh on a guy. Cause like we're talking about mental health, that can weigh on you. You know,
We've seen it before.
So
absolutely,
you know, we don't know what could happen. Like he might not have the greatest season, and plus, one day he don't want to be in Miami talking about deuces, and the next he does. To me, it seems like he missed Kansas City. Have you noticed that?
Did you see what he went on that random? It was like a random day. He just started posting all old pictures of him on his Snapchat while he was with Kansas City, from him wearing Kansas City uniform. And it's like, I feel like as a professional, you can't do that. Like that's like you at your current job. You go to a company party, right? But while you're at the company party, you're posting pictures of back when you used to work at the bank. And they're like, money, everything okay? Yeah, just wanted to share. Just going down memory lane. It's like, all right, dude. Like, it just didn't make any sense.
Hey Jay,
But he's been replaced though. They have their new quote unquote. They trying to not even new Tyreek Hill. I won't call Xavier Tyreek. I will call him. They want him to be the next Deshaun Jackson.
Yes, and he's their new car. You know, Tyreek was the Porsche.
Yes.
They said nah. They say nah, bro. We want the Maserati.
Yeah. And then Rashee Rice has been really good. Hopefully he's not suspended too many games.
I'm gonna just say this, Jay. It looks like Kansas City's a great drafting team, and that's the difference between them and Miami. Miami's not a great drafting team, and if you look at the Tua situation, right, he getting paid all that money, but you look at Kansas City and Buffalo, they didn't have to go get that dude. You know, their quarterbacks are able to carry them, and you know, I think it's gonna start happening with the Lions. They're going to have to replace one of their wide receivers because Jared Goff just got paid. When your quarterback gets paid, you got to either be lacking on offense or defense. You're not going to have it all. Because think about it. They're going to have to pay Sewell. So that's what happens when you pay your quarterback. With Miami, right? You might not be able to play Zach Sealer. Jonah want to get paid. Well, he might not be able to get paid. Jalen Ramsey wants to go, but you're paying him $24 million. You're gonna have to get rid of something because your quarterback is now getting paid. Yeah. And it's gonna happen with Kansas. It's happening with, you know, the 49ers. They had to trade Debo because they paid their quarterback.
Debo wasn't productive. We saw that train coming down the track though. Like Debo ain't been good in years, so we all saw that one coming.
But with Miami, you're gonna have to. You need production from your whole team, and you're not drafting good. You know, you're think about it. You know, they drafted Jalen Waddle, but they had.
If Miami does end up cleaning the house, I mean that's a good thing. Obviously, that probably means you guys had a bad season, but on the flip side, of that it's good because now you get a new GM in there. Sadly, a new head coach, and then you go from there. You still gonna have the same players though, money.
I'm gonna tell you this,
Only
Jay.
thing you can really hope at that point is that you continue to draft.
A lot of Dolphins YouTubers don't like Mike McDaniel. A lot of them don't like him. They think he's an idiot and he can't coach. They think that a lot of the league has caught up to his plays. Like I'm just telling you what I've been seeing.
We saw this man show mercy on the team, scoring 70 points.
I understand, but you know, they feel like he's an idiot. I don't think it's him. I think it's just you don't have the players you need to be able to run everything you need to run. And like I said, with the left-handed quarterback, when he gets hurt, your whole offense changes. You know, he had a quarterback making less money. He could probably have more around him, but when you pay your quarterback, you put yourself in that situation.
Yeah, when you get played for it gets tight for sure.
You know what, Jay? They said the rumor is that Chris Greer and others didn't want to pay Tua that money. They say it was Mike McDaniel going into Ross' office saying, "Hey, I think we need to pay him." So if they have a bad season, he's
tied
gone.
Yourself to him. So I mean, we're gonna see, man. We're gonna see for sure. It's not looking good though. A lot of players want to get paid, and a lot of players might be on the move.
I agree.
I think we're going to wrap it up. That about does this video. Get in the comment section. Keep letting us know what you guys want to hear us talk about. And one thing, since I don't think we really mentioned it, if you're new here, please subscribe. We'll love it. If you don't like it after a while, you can unsubscribe. It's completely free. Hit that like button. Please share with a friend. Follow us on social medias as well. Money, any charitable events you want to mention?
No, but I'll say chat with us, comment. We're willing to interact with you all. We want to hear,
please comment.
you know,
Please leave
your
comments.
thoughts about different things.
But that's all we got for this one. I'm Jace HD, aka Two Wavy Jacer.
I'm Money.
Until the next one. Peace.
Take it easy, y'all.